Hello and welcome to our Science Fair project, The Story of Spores, measuring the growth of bread mold. My name is Sam Florin.
And my name is Ethan Harrison.
Here's what we'll be covering today.
So, in our experiment, we tested out how different breads mold faster in different environments. We chose this topic because we wanted to discover where different breads should be stored and how to preserve them.
This topic is very important because if eaten, mold can be quite dangerous to people with allergies or underlying health conditions. People should know where to store their food to avoid mold.
We used sesame white bread, rye bread, ancient grains bread, Wonder bread, and whole wheat bread. We would then store a slice of bread in either a Ziploc bag, a freezer, a fridge top, a dark box, and a windowsill.
Mold is everywhere in the form of mold spores that float around. When these spores see an exposed organic material, they will attach themselves to it and over a period of time grow and spread around the object. Mold takes around 4 to 5 days to begin forming.
Mold loves warm and moist environments. This is because it's a living fungus, and it's a lot easier to live in warm temperatures rather than cold ones. There are millions of molds, but there are 5 types of bread molds.
They are Mucor, Aspergillus, Penicillium, Rhizophus stolonifer, and Cladosporium. These 5 molds are all different, whether in color, texture, or the way it grows. When a mold fully develops, it releases more spores into the atmosphere.
Okay, so our first hypothesis was that if the bread is in a warm and moist environment, then more mold spores will attach to it because mold likes to grow in those conditions.
Our second hypothesis was that if bread has more preservatives, then it will mold less or not at all. If the bread has less preservatives, then it will mold more. Because preservatives are in food to keep them fresh and to stop the growth of bacteria, fungi, yeast, and of course, mold.
Okay, so our variables. Our dependent variable was the amount of mold. Our independent variables were the different environments and the types of bread. And our control variables were to keep the bread slices approximately the same size. We also photographed them at around the same time every day.
Day 0. So we now started the experiment. We had bought the different breads and placed them in their respective environments. We didn't expect anything to happen to them for a while because, from what we researched, mold takes around 4 to 5 days to begin growing.
And here are our different environments. Okay, day 1. Day 1 was our first day of experimenting, and we did our first round of taking pictures. Okay, we're fast forwarding to day 10 and 11.
To our surprise, no mold had developed in the first 9 days, but finally on day 10, we discovered that one very small greenish mold spore had begun to form on the rye bread in the Ziploc bag.
Okay, fast forward all the way to day 18. Day 18 was our last day of experimenting, and the Ziploc rye bread was almost completely covered in mold. And the Wonder bread, white bread, and whole grain bread had a bit of mold on them.
So here are the final results. We decided to measure the mold by finding what percent of mold there is on the bread. As you can see, 94% of the rye bread is covered in mold, while the others are only covered about 3 to 5%.
All of the moldy results were in the plastic bag. The second graph is the rye bread. As you can see, at the start there was no mold, and then over time the mold slowly grew, and finally, on the last days, it spiked an incredible amount.
Discussion. So, we think we got the results we did because the breads that molded were located in the plastic bags, which are warmer and moister environments than the other environments.
Something we could have done better is to start the experiment a bit earlier so that we could get a wider range of mold growth results.
Our project relates to the real world because when other people see our results, they will know which breads mold in which environments. This is really important because many people buy breads which goes mold really quickly, meaning it's good for them to know which environments keep their bread safe.
Okay, so in conclusion, we thought that the breads with the least preservatives would mold first and fastest. And we were partially correct. The rye bread became extremely moldy with mold covering the entire surface. But something that surprised us was that the Wonder Bread, with the most preservatives in it, was the second bread to mold.
We think we got these results because they were both located in a moist and humid environment, the plastic bag. We think this happened because a couple days earlier we sprinkled a bit of water on the breads to get the mold moving.
All right, acknowledgements. So we would like to thank Pam Matthews, Dr. Robert Harrison, Renata Milos, Master of Sciences, and our parents.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you.